If you can't tell the difference between the sounds you're about to hear, you may have a phonetics problem, an issue with sounds. If you can't spot the subtle variations in sounds, you'll always miss things when trying to understand spoken French. Today, I'm following up on last week's episode in which my friend Marie and I had a conversation in French. She spoke with a beautiful accent from Marseille, and I spoke with my Parisian accent. The question now is whether you noticed any differences. If the answer is no, you're in the right place. I'm going to show you how studying accents will strengthen your own comprehension skills and pronunciation skills. Welcome to Quirky French Podcast, the podcast that helps you speak more confidently, feel more focused, and be more in control of your French learning journey. Prêt? C'est parti! Welcome to episode 29 of Quirky French Podcast, the podcast where I give you my top tips for taking your French listening and speaking skills to the next level. I'm your coach Naima from QuirkyFrench.com, and the aim of today's episode is to help you hone your listening skills through accents. But first, how will this help you? Why is this even important? Let's compare sounds to light. Imagine you're watching TV on the worst TV ever made with very large pixels. You can't recognize the picture you're looking at because all you see are very large, different colored squares. As you practice, these large squares break down into smaller and smaller pixels until you see a real image and get the big picture. Studying accents helps you achieve just that. You'll hear more sounds more accurately. So, I'm going to break down parts of last week's interview. You're going to hear specific sections spoken in both accents and played back to back. And if at the end of the episode you still cannot hear the difference between our accents, that would indicate that the reason you don't understand spoken French is that you can't distinguish the sounds. Or at least one of the reasons would be that you can't tell them apart. You can't tell the sounds apart. If this turns out to be your problem, don't panic because I have a surprise for you and I'll tell you all about it very soon. Before we start, if you haven't listened to the episode in question, you might want to check it out at some point so that you can get more context. So you can check out episode 28, Local Accents, Marseille with Marie, and I'll include the link in the show notes. Okay, let's go. So, what you're mostly going to hear today are the main vowel pronunciation differences. Let's start with the letter E. You now know that many E's are silent in fast and spoken French, at the end of words or even within words. If you didn't know this, and if you want to find out more, check out episode 21, Spoken French versus Written French, part 4, where I give more details about it. And again, the link is in the show notes. So, deleting the E shortens the words, but can you notice how in Marseillais French, those silent E's are actually pronounced? Here, let's have a listen. Example 1, Marie's accent.
Je m'appelle Marie, j'ai 32 ans.
And now, my accent. Je m'appelle Marie, j'ai 32 ans. And then listen again here.
Généralement, on le sait assez facilement.
And in my Parisian accent, généralement, on le sait assez facilement. And then let's listen to this third example.
Ah, peut-être que si, un petit peu en fait.
And now my accent. Oh, peut-être que si, un petit peu en fait. All right, next up, nasal vowels. Sounds like un, en. Those sounds are also different in Marseillais French. Listen to Marie and compare. First example.
Elle était et croquante, et croustillante, et onctueuse presque.
And here's my version. Elle était et croquante, et croustillante, et onctueuse presque. Okay, let's listen to Marie here.
Alors ça, c'est vraiment c'est le point, en tout cas, de contention entre les Marseillais et les Parisiens.
Now, with my accent. Alors ça, c'est vraiment c'est le point, en tout cas, de contention entre les Marseillais et les Parisiens. And then one more example, Marie's accent.
L'accent, il est plus chantant, je pense.
Versus my pronunciation? Eh ben, l'accent, il est plus chantant, je pense. Now, I have a confession to make. With my Parisian accent, I only make 3 nasal sounds. Un, on, and en. And so even for me, the difference between un and is non-existent when I speak. I really have to make an effort when recording this episode. Can you hear the difference? Let's listen again. Un and un. As in matin or vin, morning or wine, and un, as in lundi. Again, un or un. This is really difficult for me. Okay, and now have you noticed how her E sounds and S sounds are basically pronounced the same in Marseillais French? They just sound like E. Check this out.
Tout à fait, tout à fait.
And now my accent. Tout à fait, tout à fait. And then listen here again.
Du coup, il y a vraiment un mix de l'anglais et du français.
And now me. Il y a vraiment un mix de l'anglais et du français. And now third example, Marie.
Après, je pense sincèrement que il y a ce côté.
And now me. Après, je pense sincèrement qu'il y a ce côté. All right, can you spot the accents now? Well done, bravo. But just to be clear, this episode is not a detailed accent lesson or a phonetics lesson. You don't need to try and adopt any specific accent either. Really, I've only just designed the episode to help you focus on sounds and help you hear them even better. Now, what if you couldn't hear any difference at all? Or perhaps you only heard a few, or you're not quite sure that you heard a significant difference. If that's the case, I have a little surprise for you. I'm releasing a free course that will help you unlock your listening skills. This 7-day course is perfect for you if you struggle with listening skills, especially fast-spoken French. All you hear is a big blur of sounds and you can't really identify the words you hear. You've been stuck at the same level for a while now and you don't know how to improve. And you're looking for a step-by-step guide that will help you understand more with less frustration. If this sounds familiar, this course is your solution. I've compiled my best resources and tips in this training, and it's yours for the taking. You'll finally have the tools to kickstart your listening confidence. Goodbye, large pixels, and say hello to ultra-high definition listening skills. So to receive the course, simply head on to www.QuirkyFrench.com/UHD listening. The link is also attached to the episode's show notes as well. I truly cannot wait for you to receive the free course and experience the change in your listening skills. And I'm really excited to release it for free as well and help as many learners as possible. So if you've been overwhelmed and wondering how to improve your listening skills, you now know exactly what to do. So just go ahead and receive the Ultra HD Listening Skills course now. That's it for today. Have a beautiful week full of light, colors, and sounds. And I'll catch up with you next week for another episode of Quirky French Podcast. And until then, as always, comme d'habitude, keep learning, keep growing, and keep it quirky. Salut, salut, et à bientôt!